Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope I'm audible and online students can see my screen here. Online students, you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, seeing in the last class. I think I was giving the brief idea. I mean, this is what the technologies we are going with. I mean, in the previous class, we have gone with the UI part, and in the last class we have seen the media queries. What do you mean by responsive web pages, and what do you mean by the Node.js? I know that I haven't gone to the depth, just a brief at a bit of information I gave you, like what actually Node.js, what are we going to cover, what do you mean by MongoDB, why Mongo is popular, why Node.js is popular, and what are the tools we are going to discuss in the training program that I have discussed. Okay, so any questions up to that? Before that, who are new for today's class? New for today's class, good to see. Okay, so guys, we are already done with 3 of the classes, but no, sorry, 4 of the classes. I'm going to share the video links for you. I mean, even in the 4 of the classes, we haven't discussed anything actual technology. Okay, we are just going with the introduction itself because we know that people will keep joining here. So I think the last class when we had was Thursday, right? Friday we didn't have class. Okay, so that is what we had, guys. So actually class is going to start from today. People who are new, both online, for online students, these are the video links. You can just simply go with them, and if you have any questions, I'll give my Telegram ID also. You can ping me in the Telegram, I can help you on it. And the 4th video is still missing. I need to receive it from the management. Once I get it, I'm going to share it with you all. Okay, my Telegram ID is, this is the one, ma'am. So this is my Telegram ID. If you have any questions, you can directly ping me over here. Okay, and this is my mail ID also. You can keep it handy because the time you're going to send the assignments, you can make use of it. Okay, and especially for the offline students here, guys, what I recommend is, if there is any possibility, please get your laptops and do the live coding over here. Okay, I mean, it is recommend. I'm not saying that mandatory you need to get it, but that really helps if you get your laptops and whatever I'm discussing in the class at the live, you are going to type them and you're going to execute them. If you have any questions, you don't need to wait for the next day. You can get it solved there itself. Okay, I'm going to be, I will be there here after the class. We can sit and we can discuss what issues you are facing. Okay, and I think some of you who have already got registered, got added to the Telegram group. Yes, and I have already taken your Gmail IDs and I already gave you the GitHub access, right? Yes. So once the people who got registered and to whom I have already given the GitHub access, please visit this github.com. Once you visit this github.com, so once you visit this github.com, at the left side, you should able to see something called as repositories. So there you should able to see the Durga Prasad UI classes. Okay, so from here you can actually explore the existing batch part. I mean, my 8 p.m. batch is there, my 7 a.m. batch is there. For 8:30 I'm going to create a folder, as we haven't started. I haven't created it, but at least now you can explore the thing. Say for example, you can go into the 7 a.m. and you go into the public folder. You should able to see others folder. Under that you have the assignments, interview questions, etc. things. You can actually go into that. For now you can simply explore it, but this is not the best way to do that. I'm going to teach you what is GitHub, how do you get the GitHub code into your local machine. Those are all things I'm still need to discuss. I will do that. I mean, by the time I have everyone who get access to the GitHub and all, then I'm going to give you a complete idea of how to use the GitHub, etc. things and all. For now, to just check, I mean, one thing is, once you give your email ID to me in the Telegram, I'm saying that, boss, I have given you GitHub access. After I say this to you, you need to check your Gmail. You should get a mail with an invitation. Who all got the invitation already? Awesome, good. So the people who get an invitation, you need to click on that accept invitation. If you don't click on the accept invitation, you cannot become a collaborator. Okay, you need to accept that invitation. Once you become an accept invitation, you please go into github.com. You should automatically see that Durga Prasad UI under that UI classes folder. You should be able to see that implies full-fledgedly you got the access. So once you get an access, get ready. Sooner, within couple of days, I'm going to talk about what is GitHub, how do you set up the GitHub desktop, how do you push and pull the code. Those are all things I'm going to discuss. Okay, so anyone who got registered but not added to the Telegram group, you got registered but not added to the Telegram group.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, some of you, some guys, whoever got registered, you already have Mr. Ramesh contact number.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
right. So please ping him in WhatsApp. Don't call him. He's busy with some lot of batches. Please ping him in the WhatsApp. The time you get registered, you need to ask him that please add me to the Telegram, because the time you get added to the Telegram, officially you'll become the part of this batch.
Okay.
Am I clear? So don't forget to update him. If you just registered, that doesn't help here. You need to get added to the Telegram group also. Okay, so please do that. Please don't forget to ask Mr. Ramesh. Management is not going to do it automatically. Ramesh is our batch admin. Anytime you have any questions for the management related questions, he is the one who is our point of contact. You ping him, he should be able to add you. Am I clear here? Everyone?
So you told
please
us from
ping
Monday
Ramesh number. Guys, anyone online students
again,
having Ramesh number? Mr. Ramesh number?
Yeah, Ramesh number.
If anyone is having, please share it. Offline students, anyone wanted the Ramesh number? Or do you have it? Have it already? Fine. Okay, so this is what the step, guys. Just make sure everybody get added to the Telegram. The time you get added to the Telegram, please ping me your email ID to me directly. Okay, you already have my Telegram ID. You can just ping me here. Okay, so thanks for sharing it, Javed. So this is the contact number of Ramesh. You can simply go with this. Guys, people who are not talking, why you are unmuting yourself? I have given an option of unmuting so that you can put your questions. Now I'm removing all. Okay. Yeah. So anyone, if you get any disturbance online students, please let me know, guys. And anyone, if you are interested in talking directly and you want to put your question instead of chat, let me know. I will even log in from my phone so that I can listen your words. Okay. Yeah. So the next part for today is, we have already done with two of the assignments, which is you're installing the Telegram, getting your Telegram ID ready, and you are sign up with the GitHub. So today, let us talk about installation of some of the softwares. So you need to go with installation of, the very first one is Sublime Text Editor. Okay. The second one is Visual Studio. Okay, and the third one is Node.js, and the fourth one is GitHub Desktop. These are the softwares what we need to install. So the very first things are editors. Obviously, the first thing what we need to do is, when we are doing the development, do we need a location or an editor where you have to write your instructions? Yes, right. I need a software which can help me so that I can write some instructions and I can save them, isn't it? So in order to do that, what is the editor what you wanted? You can please come. Yes, UI Fullstack. Guys, can you please? Done. Okay, so before you, we need a particular software which can help us so that you can write some piece of instructions, and those are the instructions which need to get executed, isn't it? Now, for example, if you have an idea of C language, where is the editor where you're going to write the instructions? Turbo C is the editor. In the same way, when you go to your C++, there is again TC or there. In the same way, you go to your Java, you have a lot of editors like Eclipse, you have IntelliJ, you have NetBeans, you have lot of editors are there. Now coming to your web development. Now when you say web development, what technologies we are going to make use? The three technologies: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So what is the editor which is helpful in developing or in writing these instructions? The advantage what you have is JavaScript or HTML or CSS never specifying that you need to have only this editor. There is no restriction in having a particular editor. Any simple editor, including the Notepad, Notepad++, Edit+, Genie, or your Sublime or your Visual Code, any editor, WordPad, anything which is capable of taking some instructions, saving that guy, that is more than enough for us. Okay, for the web development. But we don't recommend to simply go with the Notepad, etc. and all. The reason is we will go with the editor which is having something called as some auto intelligence. What do you mean by auto intelligence? When you write some piece of instructions, it identifies that yes, it is JavaScript instruction. It automatically highlights the colors. It will automatically show you the suggestion. When you write an object, dot, it will automatically show you the list of methods. People who have an idea of Java with Eclipse, when you put a class name, dot, it automatically shows the methods what you're having. In the same way, .NET also, the same features, we do have some of the editors which are supporting. So the top two editors which are being supported for the web development is, the first thing is Visual Studio Code, and the second thing is Sublime Text Editor. Okay, so first of all, at least with the development of HTML and CSS, I will go with the Sublime Text Editor, but later when we actually start with the JavaScript, then I go with the Visual Studio Code. There is not much difference. I mean, difference in the sense both are used for the editors, but comparatively Visual Studio Code is more recommended. Even in my office, I go with the Sublime. I mean, earlier I used to go with Sublime, but VS Code is the one what I go for. Doesn't matter whether you go with Angular development, JavaScript development, React development, anything. Anytime you want to go with a web development, you simply go with this. So people ask me a question, can't I go with IntelliJ, Eclipse, or NetBeans, or Visual Studio Code? Yes, boss, you can even go with that. But I don't recommend that. Why so? Eclipse or NetBeans or Visual Studio, those are for executing the C# code or the Java code, etc. Those are like heavy tools in order to support the heavy programming languages. Your JavaScript, HTML, CSS not even needed that. So why you want to increase the burden on the system just to write this simple instruction? That is the reason recommended are VS Code or Sublime Text Editor. Even in your interviews, this is a good question. People will ask you what editors you got experience with. Okay, that is the reason I'm choosing two here. I would have directly gone with VS Code, but in the interview, instead of saying a one response, you might say, I have experience with Sublime and VS Code also. Am I clear? Okay, so initially we go with the Sublime Text Editor. Later, I'll go with the Visual Studio Code. Yes, please. So Sublime Text Editor and VS Code, both are for free of cost. Okay, all the softwares, whatever we discuss in the class, those are free of cost available. Okay, so what are the steps to go with Sublime Text Editor? Simple here, go to Google, say something called as Sublime Text Download. Okay, so there is a dedicated web page, sublimetext.com. Once you go here, you directly see an option for download. So you directly click on this. Okay, so if you click on this, there is a MSI or EXE file will be downloaded. Double click on it. Next process. Nothing complex or nothing configuration to be set. Clear, everyone? Okay, the next editor what you have is Visual Studio Code. Okay, so this is the dedicated web page, code.visualstudiocode.com/download. You go here. Okay, you click on this and you can choose the operating system what you have. You click on these guy, it automatically gets downloaded with the VS Code exe file. Double click on it again. Next process. Nothing to be changed. So once you have this, this is how the Sublime Text Editor is going to be shown. You see, this is my Sublime Text Editor. By default, it comes with a black theme, black background, and a white foreground here. You can change it. You go to the preferences and you can change the color scheme or theme, whatever you wanted. Okay. Next, these are the two editors to be installed. The next thing is you need to install Node.js platform also, Node.js server. You might have a question, boss, we haven't even started with HTML and CSS. You are even talking about installation. I'm only asking for the installation. I want you guys to get ready with the system. The time I actually start with Node.js, because in order to start with the Node.js, I don't need to wait for complete UI setup or all the UI technology. In between, within a week, I'm going to talk about how do you set up a Node.js server. The reason is, once you develop the web pages, there is a concept, something called as hosting the web pages. So what do you mean by hosting? Taking the resources and keeping at the server side and accessing from the server side. That is what we call it as hosting process. So in order to discuss about the hosting process, I need to even talk about how do you set up a server. Okay, in order to talk about the setting up a server, you need to have a Node.js server. Okay, that is the reason. Just get ready with Node.js server in your local machines. So very first thing, how do you see whether Node.js is already available in my system or not? The first thing is, okay, before that, is everyone clear with these two things, Sublime and Visual Studio? Okay, so first thing is, in order to go with the Node.js, I need to check whether Node is already been available in my system or not. In order to do that, the simple command is go with node space -v. Once you do this, it is saying that Node is not at all recognized as so and so. Implies that indicates Node.js is not installed in your machine. Am I clear? So that indicates that Node.js is not installed in my machine. So how do I install this guy? So first thing is go for Node.js org. So there is a dedicated web page, Node.js org download. Okay, so this is the page where we have. Now you choose the option which operating system you go. Now I go with the 64-bit MSI file. Okay, MSI full form. Awesome. Microsoft installer. So instead of exe, nowadays they are calling as MSI. Okay, now if you double click on this guy, it's again the same process, guys. Next process. Simply next. First thing you need to accept it. Click on next guy, next, install. Okay, just finish. My installation is done. Now what is the next thing is, you should close the command prompt what you have earlier already open. Okay, just get out of it. Try to open the command prompt again. Okay, now you give the same command, node-v. This is the command which helps you tell you which version of Node.js is already been installed. Now if you click on enter, earlier it was saying Node is not recognized as a existing command, but now what it says is 16.13 is the version which has been installed. If you get this number, you may get 13.14. So and so, any number you might get, that indicates that Node.js is already installed. Am I clear? Okay, simply say node space -v, which tells you which version of Node.js. In the same way, there is something called as npm, node package manager -v. Click on enter. That also should throw you a version number. If you could able to see the value out of this commands, instead of saying npm or node is not recognized as a command, if you get this version number, that indicates that successfully Node is ready. Later, I will tell you what are the steps to implement the setup process. For now, you need to get ready with this. Clear, everyone? Online and offline students? Once you tell Node.js installation, that is what I said, right? Okay, very simple, Sai. And guys, when you're putting the questions, please put it as a public so that everyone can see your messages. Or else everyone can see your questions. So first thing is go for Node.js org download option. Choose the one based on the operating system what you go. You just to choose it. Obviously, the particular MSI file or exe file will be downloaded. Double click on it. Simply installation process. It's a next process. I haven't selected anything specific. Initially, you will get the accept the terms and condition. Click on OK. Then the next button will be highlighted. You simply say next, next, next. Now, after this, under the command prompt, you need to check that. You need to validate whether it is successfully installed or not. Earlier, the same command I was giving, but it was throwing it as invalid. Node is not recognized as a command. But now when I give the same command, node space -v or version, okay, it is going to throw me the value that indicates that it is successfully installed. In the same way, npm-v node package manager. Anyway, I'm going to discuss all of these guys. Node.js is not only this guy. I need to talk about why Node.js, what is the architecture, internal structure, everything I need to discuss. But for now, I'm only asking you to go with the setup of the Node.js. That's it. Any questions? Okay, Amitabh, I will talk to you regarding the question. Okay, first of all, let me finish this part. Okay, so this is what it is. The next thing is GitHub desktop. This is again like a interface for us, which is between you guys and the GitHub repository. Again, before talking about this interface, again, I need to talk about what is GitHub. What do you mean by code repository? What is the need of the code repository? Of GitHub desktop. Okay, for installation, you don't need any prior knowledge on this, right? So just go with this, go for something called as GitHub desktop. Go to Google, search for GitHub desktop. This is the dedicated web page what you have. And one more thing is, until Windows 7, GitHub desktop is not going to work. If your system is less than Windows 7 and less than that, please upgrade your operating system. Otherwise, the GitHub desktop doesn't work. Okay, so go with download for this. Okay, so go with the download. Again, it's a next process. Once you install that in your Windows, you say GitHub desktop. You see the first option, Git desktop. That is what option you should be able to see. And this is how it should be able to open. So this is what my GitHub desktop is. I will tell you how do I configure the GitHub desktop with your account. We'll see all this, but your job is after installing GitHub desktop, once you open it, you should be able to see the GitHub desktop. That is more than enough. Okay, so can I expect everyone to finish this 4 by tomorrow? Any questions, any blockers you see? No. So try to do this, guys. If it is not coming, let me know, or get your laptops tomorrow. I can help out. As I said you, if it is possible, get your laptops every day and do the live coding. As the online students, they do that live, right? So even you guys can get your laptops and you can do that. That really helps out so that I can help your questions within the class itself. Fine. So the next thing what we have is today, let us go with the basic steps to be followed in order to create a web page. Okay, simple web page. Who all say that, boss, this is the very first time I'm into the web development. First time I'm creating a HTML page. Anyone? 1, 2, 3. Most of you. Very good. Online students, Neha. Next. That's it. Only Srinath. Asif, Nayak, C2. Akshay. Okay, a lot of you guys. That's very good to see. People who have already seen HTML and CSS, then why you are here to check me? Okay, fine. That's good, guys. Most of you, some of you have already have an idea, but don't get bored of this, because if when I start from the very scratch, the people who have already idea of HTML and CSS, you might feel bored that why you're going with basics. But as I have promised for this class that I'm going to start from the very scratch, I will do this. So please bear with me for a couple of 3-4 days, so that once I cover with the basics, then you will be into the advanced topics, then you will feel interest. Okay, so let us start with the basic HTML creation, guys. So before talking about the HTML pages, what is the full form? It is hypertext markup language. Super fine. Can you tell me what do you mean by markup language? Forget about the hypertext. What do you mean by markup language? Browser language. Okay, next. Sorry, anyone? What is markup language? What is the meaning for this markup language? Online students? Anyone? Or okay, text showing on a page. Okay, tag. Next. Can anyone tell me any other markup language? XML, extendable markup language. Okay, now can you tell me What is markup language? If you could compare the XML and HTML, that itself will give you what is markup language. Okay, let me tell you. Yeah, someone answered that. Awesome. So that is called as any content or data or input, anything which is binded or added by using something called as tags, we call that language as a markup language. Any language which is using tags to represent the content, we simply call that guy as a markup language. Do we have the chair, guys? Ma'am, can you please? Oh, you have it once? Yeah, fine then. Okay, so any language which is representing its content in the form of tags, we call it as a markup language. Fine. What do you mean by a tag here? A tag indicates any piece of text information. Any piece of text information, you take it out. If the piece of text is being binded between open and closed angular braces, we simply call it as a tag. Okay, any piece of text here, you write it out. If the text is binded between the open and say some ABC, open and closed, binded between open and closed angular braces, we call it as a tag. And when we say a tag, tag is having both open tag and a closed tag. Closed tag means same piece of text, again same binded with open and closed angular braces, just added with a slash operator. So these two are called as tags. This guy is called as a open tag. This guy is called as a closing tag. Now, in any language, we are using these type of tags, ABC, PQR, div, span, P tag, A tag. If you are using any tags, that language is called as a markup language. HTML and XML are going to represent their content into pure tags only. Without tags, you cannot add the content into the HTML page. Now the difference between the XML and HTML is HTML is having some tags which are predefined tags. Okay, so there are some predefined tags in HTML. There is something called as HTML tag. Okay, HTML is one of the tag. We say something like this: HTML open and HTML close, like this. In the same way, we have something called as div tag. We have something called as span tag. We have something called as paragraph tag. We have something called as center tag. Hell lot of predefined tags are there, which are already having some meaning. They have a meaning for that. Yeah, guys, online students, you can see my screen back. Online students, you can see my screen back. Yes. Okay. Sorry for the delay, guys. There was some network issues. So in between, what is happening? Maharashtra team, Hyderabad team is happening. It's not IPL, guys. Okay. Fine. Yeah. What I was about to discuss. Yeah, tags. So we are talking something called as, guys, do some useful communication in the chats. Okay, don't say that, man, what is your breakfast you had in the morning? Okay, yeah, good. So we are talking about the tags, right? So we said, like, what do you mean by tag? Any piece of information binded between the open and closed angular braces, we call it as a tag. In HTML, we have some predefined tags. Every tag is already having a meaning. That is what we are learning. Now, when I say that, boss, I say that I'm an expertise on HTML. When do I say that? I need to know list of all the tags, what actually HTML is supporting, and what is the use of individual tag. Now I need to say div means, yes, it is a block level. What do you mean by block level? What are the properties? Span is an inline. What is an inline? What are its properties? Paragraph tag, anchor tag. That is what we need to get expertise into. But coming to the same into your XML, XML is not for web development. It is a different markup language which is used to hold the content. Like anytime we want to communicate between the client and server, right? We have, please. Ma'am, you can move there. They can just. Okay, fine. Yeah, so coming to the XML, XML is not used for the web development, whereas HTML is used for the web development. Okay, that is the reason it is having some predefined meaning for each and every tags. Whereas XML, we used to use the XML for data transfer. Anytime to hold some piece of data, we go with the XML, okay, extendable markup language. In fact, nowadays, XML is not used for the data transfer also. People are jumped to JSON object. Anyway, I will talk much more deeper discussion on what do you mean by XML when we actually go to the Ajax concept of your JavaScript, asynchronous JavaScript and XML, how JSON is being transmitted to the server, how the XML will be transmitted. If it is XML, what are the disadvantages we have? If it is JSON, what are the advantages we have? I'm going to talk deeper on this when we actually go for the Ajax. Right now, very simple. XML is a data holder, used to hold some content, not for web development. Whereas HTML is again a markup language having the tags used to represent the content. It is used for the web development. Okay. Now, as I said we need to understand what I mean when I say that I need to get expertise on HTML. I need to talk about hell lot of tags here. Okay, minimum it will be having some 1,000+ tags we are going to have. You need to understand each and every tag and what is the meaning of each and every tag. Initially, I will start with HTML4 tags. What are the tags we have under your HTML? When I actually start the HTML5, then I'm going to talk about what are the predefined tags which are supported, like sections, articles, navigation, menu bar, etc. Those things will come under HTML5. First of all, I don't want to take you directly into the advanced of HTML. It might confuse you as we have many people from the very starting here. Let us get comfortable with what HTML4 tags are. Okay, because one more thing is you might think like, boss, when it is HTML5 is there, why we are going with HTML4? So HTML5 doesn't mean that you completely left over the HTML4, only HTML5. No, that is not the case. HTML4 concepts are there. Adding the new concepts of HTML5, we go together. It is not like leaving the HTML4 behind and going forward with only HTML5. No, that is not the case. Just a new set of concepts added to the HTML4 and going forward. That is what a HTML5 is. That is the reason, in order to get expertise on the HTML here, you need to even know both 4 and 5 topics also, or the tags. Okay, so as I said there are some predefined tags: HTML tag, header tag, span tag, div tag, title tag, img tag, a tag, paragraph tag, heading tags. Hell lot of tags you have. We need to go with each and every tag. What is the use of it? Okay. So before going with each and every tag, you need to see what is the basic structure of a HTML page. Doesn't matter in the universe, whoever is going to develop a web page. Okay, in the universe, whoever is going to develop a web page, for sure, the structure has to be same. For example, if you go to your C language, doesn't matter whoever develops the program, for sure, he is going to create a void main method. Isn't it? Under the void main method, he's going to define the instructions. On the top, he's going to define the classes, or not the classes, methods, etc. stuff and all. Now, when you go to your Java, for sure, I'm going to define a main class under that public static void main, which is going to have the startup of the code. That is your structure of your Java code. In the same way, there is a structure for your HTML page. In the universe, whoever is going to write a HTML page, for sure, all the HTML code is being binded under a tag, something called as HTML tag. You cannot have any content before the HTML tag other than doc type. There is something called as doc type. I'll talk about later. For now, every piece of a web page has to be added within the HTML open and HTML close. Now, once you go with any of the web page, say for example, this is the Google desktop page. Do you see two parts of the page here? Or else let me open a sample page. You always see two parts of any of the web page, guys. What is that? The first part is the title. You see something called as new tab with an icon. Image is also coming. And here you see some left top white corner to the right bottom white corner. That is where you actually add some piece of content. So the top part, we call it as header part. And the second part, we call it as body part. Okay, this is how you're going to differentiate the header part and the body part. And under the header, do I need to show some title? If you see GitHub desktop is showing a title called as GitHub desktop, some sample so-and-so. Node.js is showing so-and-so title. This guy is showing so-and-so title. Sublime text is showing some so-and-so title. Now, how do I add the title here? For that, you have a predefined tag, something called as title. Please. Okay, there is a tag, something called as title tag. So any piece of text we are going to add between the open and close of this title tag, it will be automatically shown on the header bar. Okay, how to show an icon? There should be a fav icon, which I will discuss later. For now, how do we add a tag content here? Using the title tag. And body is the place. Now you add any information you want to add. This will be shown in the white screen, white space, whatever you have. Under this space, that piece of content you add within the body tag will be shown over there. Am I clear till here? Everyone? Okay, nice. Now, coming to this guy, let us create a simple page here, guys. As I said, you start with HTML tag, open and close. Under the HTML, I have something called as header part. Under the header part, it is not only for the title, guys. Any external resources, meta tag information, external script or external CSS, including the internal CSS or inline JavaScript code, all can be placed under the header part. We'll go step by step. For now, I'm simply putting the title tag. Don't assume that a header part is only for the title, but it is other parts also can be added. Now I want to put a title, something called as our first web page. This is the title what I wanted. Okay. Next thing, after header, what I have? Body tag like this. So there is something called as body. Under this, I would like to say welcome like this. Okay, welcome all. So some message I have added. That's it. This is what my web page I want to show. Now, how do I run this guy? Before running this guy, do I need to save this guy? Yes. So let us save this guy. So for saving this, let me create our first folder under UI Fullstack, UI classes. Let me create a new folder here. batch 8:30 a.m. I'll take it as December, guys, because November is already done, right? We'll take it as a December batch. December 2021. Okay. So under this, I will create a new folder. November 29th. Under this, I want to put a name. Obviously, file has to be given a name along with an extension. Now I say first page. Now, can you tell me what is mean by an extension? Dot HTML. What are the other possible extension other than HTML? Okay. So now when you are going with the extension can be either HTML or HTM. Okay, either you can give it as HTML or HTM. Forget about these two. What do you mean by file extensions, guys? Why the reason we give the file extensions? For identification of what? System or to the particular software. Okay, next. We have a lot of extensions, right? .doc, .excel, .ppt, .java, .class, .c, .cpp, .js, .css. A lot of extensions are there. Why the reason we give the file extensions? The file extension will really tell you or not you to the particular software whether that file is your readable format or not. Okay, the file extension will always tell the particular software that whether the particular file is your readable format or not. Now, when I say something called a .doc, if I give a .doc file for the MS Word software, MS Word is a software. So that guy, before opening the content, first of all, I'll see is the extension is my matching extension. If it is .doc, .docs, then I will read it. But if you give some .abc.txt or some PQR or some Java and all, does it open it? No, I simply say that it is not at all my readable format. I don't even go inside the file. Before even going inside the file, I will first of all check for the extension. If the extension is not matching, get out of it. Isn't it? That is the reason we go with the file extensions in order to first of all check whether it is readable format or not. You write a Java code. You save it as .c. Now you give to the Java compiler. Does it opens it? No, internally there is a pure Java code, but still it doesn't even open the file until and unless first of all extension is matching or not. Okay, so the extension which you need to give for the browser to treat it as a web page is only .html or HTML. You write a web page code, you write all the HTML code, you're saying it as .txt, .abc something, browser will not execute that file because it doesn't even go inside if the extension is not matching for me. Isn't it? So that is the reason the only extensions which are recommended are .html and .htm. Now, when do you go with HTML and .htm? In future, we are going to discuss a concept, something called as templating. What do you mean by templating here? Okay, first of all, you need to understand what do you mean by template. A template means a piece of look and feel, only a piece of look and feel, not the web page. For example, if you go to Node.js, you see a lot of content is there on the web page, but internally n number of templates are there. Can I say that this is a individual part of header part? Header is a piece of template. This piece of information which is showing about the operating system, piece of look and feel, which is a template. This is the list of table type of look and feel for particular different operating system. Platform information. This is like list of so and so. This is a footer. These are called as individual templates. When we develop a web page, we don't add all the piece of content and we don't create a single page. Instead, we create individual blocks, gather them. Now you create a web page. The advantage what you have is if you create these individual templates, it is easy for you to reuse these individual templates into another web page. Now the GitHub Node.js guy is creating another web page having the same header. Do I need to redevelop it? No, copy that component or individual template into a separate page. Now you have that look there. Okay, so we gather multiple templates to create a single individual page. So when you are creating a single template, that extension recommended is .htm. If you are creating a complete web page, That extension is .html. Am I clear? Okay, so now what we recommend, are we creating an individual template or complete web page? Complete web page. So the extension should be .html. So let us go for this. HTML or HTML? HTML. Now I say sample page. Anytime you're giving the folder names or the file names, make sure you don't give the spaces. Okay, recommended. If you say that, what is going to have, if it is space, is going to throw error? No, it's not going to throw any error. But when it is forming a URL, junk value is going to be added. Okay, that is the reason. Don't try to give any spaces while you're giving the folder names and the file names also. When you are giving the file names, make a habit of giving a camel case. Camel case in the sense, start the word with a small letter, subword should start with a caps. You can use hyphen or underscore also, but recommended is camel case. Okay, so I say sample page.html. Save this guy. Now if you see, once I say it as a HTML, is my Sublime text editor is highlighting the predefined tags. That is why we go with the editors with auto intelligence. How does the Sublime knows that HTML is predefined, header tag is predefined? That is why we go for software. That software is already been injected with, these are the list of HTML tags. Anytime we use those tags, it will automatically highlight, so that as an end user, you can differentiate between the predefined content and user defined content. Okay, now if you save this guy, that's it. My development is done. Now I need to execute this web page. Yes or no? Yes. Which location you're going to execute the web pages? Obviously the browsers. Yes. So how you're going to execute the things on the browser? Very simple, guys. Open the tab, open to the folder where you have saved your files. Where is that? Okay, this is the file what you have. The best thing is simply drag and drop the file. Okay, drag the file what you have developed, drop onto the browser. Doesn't matter what the browser it is. Either it could be Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Safari, IE, Edge, anything you go, you can just do this process. Now, do you see the header as our first web page here? Yes, it is. Do you see the content as welcome so and so? Yes, it is. Do you see any of the tags here, like heading tag, HTML tag? No. Tags are getting executed and getting shown with the result. If you see the source code of this guy, this is what the content you have written. This is what the output it got generated. So being a UI developer, the very first thing you need to keep in your mind is, anywhere you see any of the web page, background piece of coding has been written, executing that code is giving this output. How to see the source code? See, this is the source code what GitHub guy has written, and this is what the output you are seeing. This is what the coding what we have written, the result is what we see. Now we need to get expertise in such a way that, say for example, I want to have these type of look and feel, what type of coding they are writing, what type of div tags, what tags we need to do. Now we need to learn about, being a HTML or CSS developer, you need to understand all the tags what are used for giving such type of look and feel. Now this is a basic part, you just got it. But what if like I want boxes, images, positions, borders, tables and all? That is what we are going to learn in this HTML and CSS training program. Any questions up to this? Anyone? Online students, offline students? Guys, one thing I want to make sure, if you are not putting questions, I don't feel the interest, to be very much open, honestly with you. The more the questions you put, the more the interest I get that, okay, you are understanding, I need to do this. Clear? I know that, if it is simple part, how to see the source code, one way is right click on the page. There is something called as view page source, or Control U is the shortcut. It will open the source code of any web page. Any public web page which is executing within your browser, you can actually explore, you can see the source code of that. Okay. Next. Let us extend a bit of this guy. Now I say, earlier I was talking about the extensions, right? Let me close the other tabs. Not needed, not needed, needed. No, you already have the videos, right? Or anyone wanted this? Wanted this? Okay. Okay. Guys who wanted the videos, or online students, anyway, I have pinged them. Offline student, if anyone wanted, come to me after the class. I can help you. I think that day I have already shared with some of you, all right? Yeah. You haven't. Okay. Maybe you haven't reached me. People who have reached me, I have already shared it. But anyone wanted after the class? Okay. This thing is also, I can clear it out. You already got a good idea of what technologies we are covering, etc. things and all. Okay. I can remove this. Angular difference we can remove. These all questions also we already discussed. Okay. Okay. Now coming to this guy. As I said you, let us take out this guy, a pure HTML code, creating a new file. I'm saving this some testing.txt. I just changed the extension. That's it. Okay. Now if you save this, close this web page. Now I go with earlier when I say sample.web page, this is how it is coming. But now when I execute this testing.so and so, is it is executing or showing the content? This is the difference between the extension, I mean matched extension and not matched extension. What the browser is doing, it is not even going into the file. If you go into the file, content is same HTML, valid HTML we have given, but it is not even going inside. Why so? First level, I check for the extension. Extension not matching, get out of it. As simple as it is. Okay, so that is the reason it is not executing this. It is simply showing the content for us. That is the reason only HTML or HTM has to be given as the extension. Okay, now let me write a piece of code. Okay, let us close this guy. Let me write a piece of code where I would like to create some news items. Okay, a very simple web page. Instead of just this messages, I would like to go with some news item. I'm saving this guy. If you say something called as news items.html, when I click on save, if I initially save it as a .html, your editor already knows that user is going to write the HTML tags. See here, when I say HTML, it automatically creates the tags for me. This is another help what your editors will provide. You see, I don't need to say HTML tag open browser, because they know that in the universe, whoever is creating a HTML page, for sure, he need to have the heading tag, HTML tag, title tag, body tag and all. That is why it is giving a predefined structure. Amazon guy is developing. Obviously, he need to do this. Google guy is creating a web page. For sure, he need to go. Anyone in the universe, they need to for sure follow this page structure, HTML coding structure. Okay, now let us write the code. As I said you, I will talk about the doc type later when I come to the HTML5. Okay, so I say under the title something called as news items or today's news items. Okay, so my information is, let me get some news content from outside. Okay, I will say some news item 1 colon some piece of content. Okay, in the same way, I would like to have some multiple news items here. 4 news contents. This is item 4, 5, sorry. And hope I already discussed about difference between the static pages and dynamic pages, right? The pages what I'm creating, is it static or dynamic? Come on. Is it static? Come on. Yes, it is static, right? It is static. When it is going to be dynamic, if it is taking the input from the user, if it is dynamically getting rendered, then it is dynamic page. Right now, we are hard coding the data. Same data is visible to the user. Okay, save this guy. Now, if you want to open in the browser, we know that open to the folder, drag and drop it. Other option what you have in the Sublime is right click on the page. There is an option something called as open in the browser directly. So if you click on this, it will automatically open the page in the default browser what you have chosen. Right now, my system Chrome is the default browser. It is opening in the Chrome. Super fine. This is what the news items we have added. Yes. The first question, first observation, what you need to see is, boss, when we are adding the content within the page, some indentations, some spaces, some line breaks. But coming to the browser, is it is considering them, the line breaks or indentation, etc.? No. Then what is the, I mean, why it is skipping that? The very first formula of your HTML is, what HTML says is, anytime you add any number of spaces, doesn't matter how many space you give, I only consider it as one. Any number of spaces you give, I'm going to consider it as one. Any number of line breaks you give, I don't even consider them. See here, n number of line breaks I gave, go back to the page, reload the page, not considering. Why so? Line breaks and spaces you need to go with another predefined HTML tags, or you need to go with some CSS properties to add the line breaks or the required spaces. Okay, you need to go with the CSS, predefined CSS properties, or the some predefined tags are there. You need to use them to get the line breaks or the spaces. Other than that, there is no way you can get the line breaks or the spaces here. Okay, now the very first other HTML tag, anytime you want to have the line breaks, the predefined tag what you have is BR tag. Okay, I already said you, anytime you have any of the tag, for sure you need to have the both closing and opening tag. Yes, it is. But here, why we have heading, I mean title open and title close? Because in between we are adding some content. Yes or no? Why we have body open and body close? Because in between we are adding some content. But BR itself indicates a line break. You're not adding any content. That is the reason for this tag, you don't need to write a closing tag. You can simply say BR, at the very last you say slash, which is equal to self closing tag. Opening and closing tag are on the same way. Okay, opening and closing are in the same way where you're defining. So here this we call it as self closing tag, but here this is also optional. You may give it or you may not give it. It will directly take it as a BR. Now if you save this, come back to the page, reload the page. Is it is rendering in a new line? Yes, it is. So wherever you wanted, one single BR tag indicates a single line. If you add multiple BR tags, multiple line breaks. Okay. So like this, anywhere you wanted, you simply put the BR tag. Wherever you want the line breaks, keep the BR tag. That's it. Come back here, reload the page. So now what HTML says, if you give line breaks in your content, I'm not at all going to consider. If you want the line break, you need to add some tags or CSS for that. Using CSS, how we do, we'll do it later. Okay. So let's pause for today, guys. Tomorrow we'll talk about something called as the paragraph tag. We will discuss how do we put the content into the paragraph. There is something called as H1 to H6 tags, heading tags. What is the use of heading tags? We'll discuss. If possible, time will be possible. There is something called as HTML attributes. What are attributes? And if time permits, I will talk about the style attribute, which is equal to inline CSS. How do we go with the CSS? That is what I'm going to discuss. So don't get a confusion, guys. When I'm saying that tomorrow I'm going to start CSS, doesn't mean that we are done with HTML. Hell lot of things are there. HTML and CSS are parallel languages. There is never a case that first I will finish HTML, later I go with CSS. It doesn't work. These two have to go parallelly. Okay. Any questions for today? No? Okay. Fine for today, guys. Let's sign off for today. We'll meet again back on tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye for today. So as I said, you guys, anyone who get registered, please ping Mr. Ramesh to help in adding you guys to the Telegram. If you are still into the demo classes, it is fine. I mean, if you are still checking whether it is good or not, it's up to you, not for forcing that you need to get registered. But after you get registered, please get added to the Telegram. Once you get added to the Telegram, please share me your Gmail ID. Okay. Bye for today.